and this is connected to the voltmeter or galvanometer just to see the deflection of the current. Okay, now over here the beaker or the compartment which is present towards the left hand side, that is going to be negative, and the one which is on the right hand side, that is going to be positive. The negative electrode over here is named as anode, and the positive electrode over here is named as the cathode. The internal section or the internal circuit is connected by an inverted U-tube which is known as the salt bridge. This salt bridge consists of certain specific electrolytes, like we can take KNO3, we can take NH4, NO3, we can take KCl and so on. Okay, now we will discuss each of them separately. The bring of the salt bridge is plugged with cotton wool such that no diffusion takes place between both the electrolytes. The electrolyte which is present in the beaker and the electrolyte which is present in the salt bridge. Right? Now the observations which we see over here. The first observation which we are going to see in this is that there is a flow of current through the external circuit. As we have said that in this case the reactions they are going to be spontaneous, then we observe that zinc loses 2 electrons in the left cell to give Zn2 positive ions. So therefore we can say that electrons flow from anode to cathode. Right? Now if the electrons are flowing from anode to cathode, if this is the galvanometer and we are saying that electrons are flowing from anode to cathode, we know that current that is going to flow in the opposite direction, right? Therefore we say that current flows from cathode to anode. Okay, so current that is going to flow in the opposite direction. Now in this case what will happen, that because the zinc it is losing electrons and positive charge is being accumulated in the zinc sulfate solution, concentration of Zn2 positive ions that is going to increase over here. So as a result the positive charge increases. Due to this increase in positive charge, to make it neutral, the negative ions from the salt bridge, they flow to the half cell, oxidation half cell, right? So the left hand side is known as, or the anode is known as oxidation half cell. It is known as oxidation half cell. Now at the cathode what is happening? The other side, the right hand side of the cell, that is Cu2 positive in the solution. It is entrapping all the electrons which are coming from the anode. So 2 negative to give Cu. Right? This is the reaction which is taking place at the cathode. So always at the cathode reduction is going to take place, and in the galvanic cell this is known as reduction half cell. Okay, cathode is known as reduction half cell. Slowly and gradually we observe that the weight of zinc electrode decreases and weight of copper electrode increases. Why? Because over here zinc is losing 2 electrons to go into Zn2 positive state, whereas over here Cu2 positive is gaining 2 electrons to get copper. So slowly and gradually we can see that copper starts getting deposited at the copper electrode. Okay, so over here at anode always oxidation is going to take place, and at cathode always reduction is going to take place. If we combine both the oxidation and reduction half reactions, so what is the oxidation half reaction over here? Oxidation half reaction, that is Zn minus 2 electrons to give us Zn2 positive, and reduction is Cu2 positive plus 2 electrons to give us Cu. So overall reaction, that is going to be 2 electrons, they get cancelled. So overall reaction is Zn plus Cu2 positive to give us Zn2 positive plus Cu. This is the Daniell cell, in which the Daniell cell reaction, that is given by Zn plus Cu2 positive to give us Zn2 positive plus Cu. Right? Now when we are talking of any galvanic cell, or this is specifically known as the Daniell cell. But if we are taking some other solutions in this, they are termed as galvanic cell, or they are termed as voltaic cells. Right? Why they are known as voltaic cells? Because there is going to be a potential difference which is going to occur, as a result of which the voltmeter or the galvanometer shows deflection, showing that current is flowing through the cell. Okay, so this is what a galvanic cell is. Then when we talking of, we have already done now 2 kinds of cells. One which is known as the electrochemical cell, and the other one which is known as the electrolytic cell. Let's see the differences in both. Difference in electrolytic and galvanic cell. Differences between electrolytic and galvanic cell. So let's put it in tabular form. Let's say that we are putting the electrolytic cell here. Electrolytic cell and galvanic cell. Right? The first difference is that in case of electrolytic cell, electrical energy is converted to chemical energy. Electrical energy is converted to chemical energy. In case of galvanic cell, opposite is happening. Chemical energy is converted to electrical energy. ठीक है? Number 2, anode in this case, in the electrolytic cell, anode is positively charged. And cathode is negative. Whereas in the galvanic cell, what is happening? Anode is going to be negatively charged. And the cathode is positively charged, right? This is the second difference. Then the third difference is that in electrolytic cells, both the electrodes, right? Cathode and anode at both the electrons, ions are discharged, whereas in galvanic cell, ions are discharged only at the cathode. Right? So ions, they are going to be discharged only at the cathode. Then number 4, both electrodes in case of electrolytic cell is fitted in the same compartment. There are no different cells. Okay? So we say that there is only one compartment over here, whereas in galvanic cell, 2 half cells are present. Two half cells are present, which we have already discussed. One which is the oxidation half cell and the other that is the reduction half cell. Right? Then we come to the very important part of the galvanic cell, which is the salt bridge. Right? So what is the salt bridge and what is its significance? Salt bridge and its significance. Now you just saw when we had discussed the Daniell cell that the salt bridge is an inverted U-tube which completes the internal circuit. Which completes the internal circuit of the galvanic cell. That is what a salt bridge is. Right? Now, salt bridge, it generally consists of, you can say, electrolytes like KCl, KNO3 and ammonium nitrate. Okay? So, these are the electrolytes which are going to be present. How do we prepare the salt bridge? What we do is that we take agar or gelatin, right? We take gelatin and mix it with hot aqueous solution of electrolyte. The electrolyte may be KCl, KNO3 or NH4NO3, either of the three. So we are mixing gelatin with hot aqueous solution till it forms a jelly-like substance. The main purpose to make a jelly-like substance is such that the electrolyte which is present in the salt bridge does not diffuse with each of the electrolytes in both the compartments. ठीक है, जैसे हमने उसमें किया था ना अभी सेल में, इन्वर्टेड यू ट्यूब हमने रखा है, तो अगर हम इन्वर्टेड यू ट्यूब रखते हैं तो उसमें चांसेस रहते हैं कि जो इलेक्ट्रोलाइट है दैट डिप्स इन द both the half cells to you can say so that does not happen, as a result of which what we are doing is we are mixing gelatin and then we are plugging both the sides with cotton. Okay, so this is what a salt bridge is. When we are choosing the electrolyte of the salt bridge, as we have chosen 3 of these, the electrolyte chosen should be such that number 1, the size of the cations and the anions should be almost same, and secondly the mobilities of the cation and anion should also be same. That is, if we have KCl, K is the cation and Cl is the anion, both should move with same speeds. Clear? So this is what a salt bridge is. Then let's go on to the significance of the salt bridge. The question now comes is that why do we require Why do we require a salt bridge? What is the significance of the salt bridge? Now this salt bridge, as I just told you, that it connects both the half cells. Right? It connects both the half cells, thereby completing the internal circuit. Right? This is the first and the foremost significance of the salt bridge. Then the second one is it prevents the diffusion of solutions of two electrolytes. The two electrolytes which are present in separate compartments, that can be prevented from diffusion by using the salt bridge. Then the third one is it keeps it helps in maintaining, it maintains the electrical neutrality in the cell. Like you had seen in the cell that when Zn is losing two electrons, it enters into Zn2 positive state. Similarly, when copper 2 positive is gaining two electrons in the reduction half cell, it gives us copper. Now in the first case, oxidation half cell, the positive charge in the nucleus, in the solution or the electrolyte increases. Okay, so the positive charge is going to increase. If there is more of positive charge, a reverse reaction can take place, as a result of which the current will stop flowing and the cell becomes non-operational. To prevent this from happening, the negative charge, like if you've taken KCl in the salt bridge, the negative charge that is going to transfer to the brink of the U2 towards the oxidation half cell, as a result of which it neutralizes this positive charge. Right? In a similar manner, over here, Cu2 positive from copper sulfate solution, it is gaining 2 electrons to give us Cu. Okay. Now over here, negative charge in the solution increases. Right? Negative charge in the solution that is going to increase, thereby the positive charge from the salt bridge again transfers to the brink of the U2 and makes the reduction half cell neutral. Right? This is one of a very important application of salt bridge. Then there is another thing which is important, that it prevents liquid junction potential. It prevents liquid junction potential. What is the meaning of liquid junction potential? It means that there is a potential difference which arises between the two solutions when they come in contact with each other. Right? That is, we have 1 molar zinc sulfate which is present in the oxidation half cell and 1 molar copper sulfate which is present in the reduction half cell. Okay, once the reactions they start, there is going to be a potential which is between both the liquids, 1 molar zinc sulfate and 1 molar copper sulfate. So what does the salt bridge do is, it behaves as an intermediate between the two solutions, thereby preventing this liquid junction potential. If this liquid junction potential it occurs in the solution, the cell is going to become non-operational. Okay, have you understood? So these are the salt bridge. Now let's see how do we represent an a Daniell cell. Representation of representation of galvanic cell. When we are going to represent the galvanic cell, please keep the following points in mind. When representing a galvanic cell, the anode is always placed at the left and the cathode is always placed at the right. Okay? Anode is going to be placed at the left and cathode is going to be placed at the right. So if we are taking the Daniell cell, in which the overall reaction which we did was Zn plus Cu2 positive to give us Zn2 positive plus Cu. Okay, now in this case, if you want to represent this cell, we are first going to represent the anode reaction, that is oxidation reaction. Z starts converting into Zn2 positive. Okay, this slash over here, that represents that Zn is being converted to Zn2 positive, and over here we write down the concentration. Let's say we are taking 1 molar and zinc over here, that is written in solid state. Okay? Then we represent the salt bridge, which is represented by a double slash, and Cu2 positive, again the concentration and Cu. In case the concentration of the electrolyte is not mentioned, then instead of writing the concentration, we can also use aqueous in brackets. So this is how we are going to represent a Daniell cell. Okay, the single slash over here, it means that we are converting Zn to Zn2 positive, and the double slash over here means what? That it is representing a salt bridge. Then again single slash over here represents that Cu2 positive is being converted to copper. Now copper again over here is solid, so we can also put S in bracket. Is it clear? Then we come to another very important term over here, which is known as electrode potential. This is very important. What do we understand by electrode potential? Now, when we place any metal in its solution, like we had placed zinc in a solution of zinc sulfate, what was happening to zinc? Zinc was losing electrons and it was going inside the aqueous solution in the form of Zn2 positive, right? Or vice versa can also happen, that the solution can gain electrons and enter into the solid state. Right? So we are saying that both the possibilities can happen if we are placing any metal electrode into any electrolyte which is being dissolved in water. Okay. Now how does this electrode potential, you can say, it develops? Let's take the examples of both the cases. We are going to take the example of zinc first. When a plate of zinc is placed in a solution of zinc sulfate. Okay, we are taking this as an example. Now what is happening over here? In case of this zinc plate, it has both the ions, positive and negative. Okay, it will have both the ions, positive and negative. What is zinc doing over here? Zinc is losing electrons to go into Zn2 positive state. Right? So we can say that the positive charge is moving out from the zinc plate. Okay. Now if the positive charge is moving out of the zinc plate, then what is going to happen over here? That all the positive charges that goes into the solution and the negative charges they are left behind in the plate. Right? This is what happens when we are placing a plate of zinc in zinc sulfate solution. In zinc sulfate solution. So this is, we can say, this potential difference which has occurred over here now, the solution which is positively charged and the plate which is negatively charged, this potential difference which occurs that is known as electrode potential, right? So the potential difference which occurs over here, that is known as what? It is known as electrode potential. Okay. Now in a similar manner, if we say that we are placing copper plate in copper sulfate solution, okay, so again this copper plate, it will have what? It is going to have both positive and negative charges. Right? Similarly over here, it has both positive and negative charges. Now Cu2 positive is gaining electrons, as a result of which it gets converted into Cu. So Cu2 positive that is present inside the solution, it is gaining electrons, means the electrons are being attracted by the solution over here, as a result of which only positive charge will be left in the solution. Right? Again a potential difference will be created over here, and this potential difference is going to be known as electrode potential. What is the difference between two cases? If we are taking the first case, the potential, it is known as oxidation potential. Why oxidation potential? Because zinc is losing 2 electrons to give us Zn2 positive. Okay? Whereas when we are talking in the second case over here, the potential difference that is known as, or the electrode potential is known as reduction potential, because Cu2 positive is gaining 2 electrons to give us Cu. So two types of different potentials, they are being formed when we are talking of a galvanic cell. In the oxidation half cell, oxidation potential, that is zinc is losing electrons, and the other that is known as reduction potential, in which copper that is gaining 2 electrons. Okay. Now when we are talking of this conversion of metal ions into metal ions by attractive, why are we saying that these ions, they are being attracted by the solution? We know that water is a polar molecule. Okay. So as a result of the polarity of the water molecule, it has a tendency to attract the charges. Therefore it is attracting the charges in both the cases. Right? Over here this is attracting the positive charge, and over there water that is attracting the negative charge. As a result of this, what happens over here, that there is a double charge layer which is formed at the interface of the metal and the solution. Okay, you can see over here, na? There is a double charge layer between the interface of the metal and the solution. Positive charge is outside over here and negative charge is inside, so there is a double layer of positive and negative charge formed. Similarly over here, negative charge is going to be outside and positive charge inside, so there is a double layer of this also formed over here. Have you understood? So this is what electrode potential is, right? Any doubt in this? So magnitude of electrode potential, that is going to depend upon 3 things. We are saying that the magnitude of electrode potential depends upon the following 3 factors. The first one, that is nature of the electrode. Nature of the electrode, which means which has a tendency to gain electrons and which has a tendency to lose electrons. right? On that nature of the electrode potential, that is going to depend. Then number 2, it depends upon concentration of the ions in solution. Concentration of ions in the solution. And number 3, it is temperature dependent. It will depend upon the temperature. Mostly what we take over here is that we maintain the temperature of the room to the room temperature, that is 25 degrees Celsius, and then we calculate the electrode potential. Okay, now to calculate the electrode potential of various metals, when we just put in, like you saw that in zinc we are putting a zinc metal rod, and in copper sulfate we were putting a copper metal rod, right? By just taking one single electrode and one single solution, we cannot measure the electrode potential of that particular metal. For that we need a couple, okay? Singly we cannot calculate, so we need a couple. We need 2 half cells which are operating simultaneously so as to calculate the electrode potential. For that we require another electrode which is known as the reference electrode. Any electrode whose you can say electrode potential can be taken as a constant value. That is what a reference electrode is. With respect to this reference electrode, we can calculate the electrode potentials of many metals, right? So this is what a reference electrode is. Now when we are talking of reference electrode, how do we calculate the you can say the electrode potential of various metals? Then we use this representation, E cell, that is equal to E anode plus E cathode, or E cathode minus E anode. This is also written in certain books. E cathode minus E anode, or E right minus E left. Right? So this is how we calculate the E cell. Clear ho gaya? Okay. Now reference electrode which we generally take. Now what is happening at the anode? अगर इसको और simplify करना चाहते हो, तो what is happening at the anode? Oxidation. So we say that E cell, that is equal to oxidation potential plus reduction potential. So E cell can also be written as oxidation potential plus reduction potential. Now knowing the value of the reference electrode, we can calculate the value of any metal. So one reference electrode which we are going to discuss today, that is the standard hydrogen electrode or normal hydrogen electrode, which is known as She. Okay? So we have standard hydrogen electrode which is known as She. What is the standard hydrogen electrode? The standard hydrogen electrode consists of a glass beaker, okay? In this we immerse a sealed glass tube in which a platinum wire is suspended, and this platinum wire is connected to a platinum foil. Okay, and then we cover this we cover this with another perforated glass tube. This is a porous glass tube which we are using over here. Why are we using a porous glass tube? Such that the excess hydrogen which is produced, that can be escaped. Okay? So over here we are continuously bubbling hydrogen at 1 atmosphere. So we are saying that this is a platinum wire. And platinum foil, and the electrolyte which we are taking over here, that is 1 molar HCl. Okay, so this is what a hydrogen electrode or standard hydrogen electrode is. When we are taking this, this is a standard hydrogen electrode in which this can be used as both cathode as well as anode, right? So what we, as soon as this is taken as a couple with other, जिसका भी आपको calculate करना है, so उसके साथ अगर हम couple लेते हैं, we see that bubbles of hydrogen, they can be seen in 1 molar HCl. This is the excess hydrogen which is escaping through the H positive. Through this thing, electrolyte. Okay, so if we are taking this as cathode, we know that at cathode always reduction is going to take place. Okay, so 2H positive plus 2 electrons gives us H2, right? And when we are taking this as anode, then we have an opposite reaction in which H2 is losing 2 electrons to give us 2H positive. Okay, is it clear? So this is the standard hydrogen electron. Let's put it to some use. Let's see how do we calculate or determine the electrode potentials of zinc and copper by taking this as a couple. First of all, let's calculate it for standard electrode potential for zinc. When we are calculating standard hydrogen electrode for zinc, so we are placing the hydrogen electrode towards right. That is, we are taking it as a cathode. Okay, we are going to take it as a cathode. So the setup is going to be something like this. We placed 1 molar zinc sulfate solution over here, okay? And this is the zinc electrode, and over here we have the standard hydrogen electrode. They are both connected to the galvanometer or the voltmeter to take the reading of the cell, and this is the salt bridge, right? So when we are looking at this, this is being taken as the anode. Anode where oxidation is going to take place, so Zn minus 2 electrons to give us Zn2 positive, and this is behaving as a cathode, so we have H2. Reduction is going to take place over here, 2H positive plus 2 electrons to give H2. Okay. When the cell becomes operational, it is seen that E0 cell over here, the value on the voltmeter, that comes to 0.76. Okay, so we know that E cell, that is equal to E anode plus E cathode. E anode over here, that is taken to be 0. As a standard electrode potential, the value of electrode potential for hydrogen is always taken to be 0 volts. So over here we will have E cell, the reading is coming over here as 0.76. So E anode plus 0. Therefore, E anode, the value comes to 0.76 volt. But as at anode, oxidation is taking place, therefore the value of the anode should always come to negative. So it is said that the value of E0 Zn2 positive, Zn to Zn2 positive, that is minus 0.76. Okay, so whenever oxidation takes place, the value of potential difference or the value of E0, that will come to negative. In a similar manner, if we want to calculate the standard electrode potential for copper, right? So we are taking again copper at the anode and we are taking hydrogen electrode at the cathode. Same setup, but instead over here we will take copper and over here we are going to take 1 molar copper sulfate solution. Okay, now when we are calculating, the galvanometer gives us a deflection of 0.34. Okay, so it means E0 cell is equal to E anode plus E cathode. E anode over here, that is to be calculated, and E cathode is 0. The value coming over here is 0.34. So E anode is taken to be 0. E anode is taken to be 0.34. Now because copper has a tendency to get reduced, therefore the value of this is going to be what? It is going to be 0.34. Have you understood? Or this can also be done in a different manner, that you can take this as the anode and this as the cathode for copper. Right? So even then your answer that will come to 0.34. Okay? So today we are going to do only till here. Right?